Welcome back, guys, to another special episode again. And joining with me is, once again, David, aka Dead Trimantics. Welcome back, David, once again.
What's going on, guys? Good to be back.
I dragged you in for another episode. So this is going to be like a podcast episode again, and we're going to go over the old Infinity Gem system and basically give us an idea of what it was like for the people that missed out on this game, including myself. And maybe give us some hints on what it might be in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Now, this might sound like pretty confusing because this system was like a lot different than like an assist system or something like that. So, David, give us the rundown.
All right, well, we're definitely going really far back in time now. This is like better part of 2 decades. This game, I think, came out in like 95.
It's what started it all, right?
In the Marvel aspect, yeah. But this was following Children of the Atom, so there was one game before it that kind of kicked off the Versus series.
Okay.
If you want to get technical.
Okay. Thanks for the correction.
It's funny because I think Children of the Atom was like so old that they didn't even have alpha sprites, so they used Akuma's Super Turbo sprite in that game.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so Marvel's roots go pretty far back. Anyways, yeah, so just so you know, guys, I'm going to be referring to as Infinity Gems because back then there was no cinematic universe, Marvel Cinematic Universe, and so we only really had the comics to go by, and the Infinity Stone terminology is more like a cinematic thing that they've added.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're referring to it as the Infinity Stones, whereas back in the day we all knew them in the comics as gems for the most part.
I'm getting triggered.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying in case you guys get confused of the terminology differences, but yeah, it's the same stuff, no difference there.
Mm-hmm.
You still got your space, your time, your mind, your soul, your reality, and your power, so nothing's changed.
Okay.
As far as the mechanics and how they worked, it was more of a comeback type mechanic, in a sense as they would pop up and then you would activate them and they would kind of turn the tides in your favor in battle.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you have any questions on that. I'm sure a lot of people probably do.
Okay, well, first off, do you select the Infinity Gem, like, before the match, or...?
No, actually, they're kind of predetermined. In arcade mode, the very first match you always start off with a Soul Gem. Now, we'll get into, like, the special attributes of each individual gem as we go.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, every single time you started off in arcade mode, you would start off with the Soul Gem.
Uh-huh.
And then as you went through the 8 levels or whatever, 8 characters that you fought throughout the game, you would encounter the rest of the gems. The only exception was the Mind Gem, because Thanos always had the Mind Gem for whatever reason.
Okay.
Always had it, yeah. So you could never actually get the Mind Gem in arcade mode. That was only Versus.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Now, just talking briefly, balance-wise, they might have done that because in arcade mode, they might have felt like you getting the Mind Gem might have been a little bit too OP against the computer, because basically what the Mind Gem does is gives you unlimited super meter for a certain amount of time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so maybe they felt that was a little unbalanced as far as arcade is concerned.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty crazy.
Got to get those quarters.
Imagine if Cable had that gem.
Yeah, it'd be pretty OP.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, so they're a little bit different, but we're going to be focusing more on the Versus side of things because that's where the game really shined, right?
Yeah.
That's what the Versus games are all about, So in Versus mode, basically nobody started with any gems right off the bat. There was no one had anything.
Okay.
You don't select them, but they are predetermined. And basically what I mean by that is, like, when you both select a character, there's going to be right under the, like, say Spider-Man versus Wolverine, there is a screen that shows all 6 gems in the order that they will appear in the match.
Oh.
So, and it's randomized to the best of my knowledge.
Oh.
So basically you'll have, like, it'll say soul, power, speed, or whatever, or sorry, time.
Mm-hmm.
And as they appear in the match, they will literally appear in that order.
All 6.
All 6. So if you actually are able to see all 6 gems, which it's possible you might not, if you're just dominating the guy so badly, you don't actually get to see the 5th or 6th gem.
Okay.
It happens. It happens. So, but potentially that's the gems that you will see, and that is the order that you will see them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, how you acquire those gems, it's basically through meeting certain criteria in the match.
Okay.
So let's say first attack, that's one of them. So,
really?
Yeah, as soon as you hit the opponent, it will pop out on whoever got the first attack side, and it's generally will come out on the side of the player where it's that performed that criteria.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's obviously an advantage for whoever, got that first attack. Or another thing that would pop it out is if you reach danger status. So if your health is flashing, you're about 30%, or 25% or whatever, it'll pop out on your side. So then it's more of a defensive thing. Right. So it just kind of gives both players a chance to turn the tides of the match.
So where does it pop out of? Like, it pops out of your character?
No, it kind of pops out of the background of the screen, and then it just kind of like hops forward a bit, and then it's anybody's game. Like, anybody can grab it, but like I said, it's done in such a way that whoever performed, the criteria for it to pop out in the first place has the advantage and is closer to it. It's
like a smash ball.
Something like that. It's kind of just it's like almost like a handicap, I guess, in a way. Yeah, so once that person grabs the gem, it's not set in stone that he gets to use it, because if he grabs it, if he's focused on grabbing the gem and the other guy lands a hit, then he has the opportunity to knock the gem out of the other person's hands and collect it himself.
Oh, if he doesn't activate it.
Right. So unless the guy grabs it and activates it on like the very first frame, like the other guy has a chance to get it out of his hands and use it against him.
Interesting. Okay.
Right. Now, you don't necessarily have to use it when you acquire them. You can save them, but of course you're always at risk for losing it if you get hit, right?
Okay.
So there was like a sense of urgency, like you kind of wanted to use it to just so your opponent couldn't.
Yeah.
Right. Like, but on the same token, like sometimes if you kind of bit the bullet, held out a bit, you might be able to use it in a more strategic circumstance and really turn the tides in your favor, right?
Are you open during it, the activation?
I mean, you're open. Like, it's kind of hard to say. Like, are you open? Because it really turned that mechanic in your favor as much as possible. Like, if the opponent was close to you, it would actually hit them. Like, the activation will actually hit your opponent.
Oh.
Like, so much so that like there's enough reel back for you to land a head crush right after it, for example.
Really? Can you block it?
Yeah, you can block it.
Oh, okay,
but, it'll push you back. It's just it's literally designed so the opponent basically is forced to go into a defensive stance.
Wow.
Yeah, so they don't want you punishing. I'm not saying that like you couldn't have bad timing and have like say like Wolverine do like Weapon X or Spider-Man, jump off the wall for a maximum spider as you activate and then clip you like at the worst possible time. It's possible.
Yeah.
You do leave yourself somewhat open for like a split second, but the game's mechanics are designed to at least give you a breathing room to utilize it.
Can you hold more than one gem?
Yes. There's 6 gems total that we already talked about. You can collect more than one, and not only that, but you can actually cycle through them. So don't like if so if you have like say the soul gem is what you have and that's what's selected currently, and you're like, okay, well I have 3 gems and I want to use the time gem, but it's like the 3rd in the slot.
Yeah.
You can cycle through it by pressing the start button.
Wait, what? The start button?
Yeah,
you're supposed to press the start button during the match on an arcade cab.
Well,
Dave, are you telling me?
Keep in mind that like back then, like the arcade cabinets were pretty small, and usually the start button was right above like the fierce button.
That's where we put our coins, man.
I know. But I'm just saying, like, it was usually smaller cabs, and the start button was like usually right above the attack button, so it wasn't that much of a stretch. I know we're thinking Marvel 2, where it was like big screen, and you had to kind of like lean forward so the guy knows what you're trying to do. It's kind of a dead giveaway, but you know where I'm going with this.
I hear you, man. That is so weird, man.
It's weird, but I mean, realistically, aside from pressing like lows or mediums or something, I can't really imagine any other way of doing it, right?
Well, what was the input to activate the gem?
The same command was used across every character for every gem. It was down, back, 3 punches, or 2 punches.
Down, back, 3 punches?
Yeah, so it was basically a super in reverse motion.
Or quarter circle back?
Yeah, quarter circle back. Sorry, like reverse fireball.
Okay. 3 punches.
Down, back. Yeah, down, back, 3 punches. Yeah.
Why didn't they make it just like medium, pressing the mediums at the same time or something like that?
I don't know. Like I said, this is so early in the franchise's history that like they were just throwing stuff and hoping that it would stick.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome.
It's a very ambitious system. It's definitely not balanced, but it is a lot of fun and it does add a lot to the game.
Oh man, it's so funny. Okay, so the circumstance you said to pop these gems out was first attack, danger, and
yeah, there's a couple other ones.
Okay.
Like, I mean, it's little like nuanced criteria, but those are the major ones that when someone's in a like close to dead state, one will pop up for a defensive chance of coming back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why I said it's kind of like a comeback mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're the first one to land a hit right at the start of the match, you get one too. So
when you say you get one, like, does it actually come to you, or you still have to grab it?
you still have to grab it.
Okay.
Right? So, like I say, you get it. You know, it pops up, but again, it's anyone's game, right?
Uh-huh.
So, and just because you grab it doesn't mean it's yours. You know, the guy can still steal it from you. So
Yeah.
there's always that.
So weird.
Now. We're just skimming the surface. We haven't actually got into the attributes of the gems.
Oh yeah, of course.
We got a lot to cover.
Yeah.
So essentially, it was a tool to turn the tides in your favor against your opponent, and every gem had a certain ability that lets you do that. Now, when you activated, we already talked about it, push your opponent back, but it also froze the screen. So it would literally it would say, power or whatever, and then your character would do a pose, and then it would literally freeze the screen, and it would cancel certain animations that normally wouldn't be follow-upable.
Okay.
So you could do like a example, like like a fierce with Juggernaut or something like that, right? And then you could potentially use the gem and then dash in and hit him afterwards when you normally couldn't. You understand what I mean?
Okay. Like there'd be no like hitbox, something like that. Like when his hands are extended.
No. Like what I mean is like you can use it as a cancel.
Oh,
like
okay.
You're canceling the animation of your normal, and then you're able to extend the combo when you normally couldn't cancel that.
Like an X Factor, like.
Something like that.
Okay.
X Factor, custom combo. You're basically just canceling the animation of your normal and continue the combo afterwards. It's hard to time it, but you can dash it and follow it up on a move that you normally couldn't otherwise.
Okay, so you can extend combos.
Right, and we're not talking about the attribute of the gem like speed up and making your character faster. We're just talking about the actual freeze frame alone, let you combo certain things that were not normally comboable.
So it's universal across all the gems.
Yeah, so you could use a gem that had nothing to do with combo ability, like say something like Soul, where it just gives you health back.
Yeah.
You could literally cancel your move and still extend your combo, even though that thing doesn't really do anything in that nature. So yeah, they had some kind of hidden benefits that people didn't really utilize. I mean, it wasn't easy to land those hits, but it was there. You know, it was kind of cool that it existed.
Yeah.
I guess we should probably move on into the a little bit more in-depth territory about what they actually do. Do you have any questions before I do that?
No, man. I'm trying to keep up with you. Keep going.
All right. Okay. We hype.
We hype, man. Let's go.
Yeah, we hype. Okay. All right. So I guess we'll start with let's go with the time gem. And the one to benefit probably the most out of this is Hulk, actually, because one thing I'll let you guys know is most of the gems, they gave a generic buff for every character across the board. So like say something like speed gem, or the time gem would give you a speed up attribute, so characters that would be normally slow, like Hulk or Juggernaut, they would be a little bit more mobile and stuff like that, right? But there was special cases with pretty much every gem where certain characters would benefit exclusively from that gem. They would still get the attributes that everyone else got, but they would get something a little bit more. So one example would be Reality Gem. If Blackheart uses it, he literally turns invincible for the entire duration.
What?
Invisible, sorry. Invisible, like he's literally cannot see him.
Even if he gets hit?
I'd have to double check. It's been a while since I played it, but I believe so.
Okay.
I believe the entire duration of that meter, he is completely invisible.
It's like a timer?
Yeah. So that's when you activate it, it triggers a timer. I think it's fixed for every gem, but let's say it's like roughly about 5 to 10 seconds, and then for that time period, while the gem is active, you get all the attributes of it.
5 to 10 real life seconds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if that was in the game, that would
And
be
there's
long
nothing the opponent can do to stop this timer once it starts?
No, once the timer's active, that's it. Like, you basically just gotta run away or
wow.
get
Okay.
the heck out of Dodge, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, so certain characters would benefit exclusively from certain gems. It was like a featured attribute. So an example is like Hulk. When he activated the time gem, for example, he got like something that's comparable would be what we saw in the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite trailer. Captain Marvel, when she activates the time gem, she gets kind of almost like a custom combo mechanic. Hulk gets that too, so he can literally cancel his normals into each other as much as he wants for the most part. Like, he can do like fierce like multiple times in the corner.
Wow.
Yeah, so he benefits a lot from that. I'm trying to think of a few other ones that are notable. I guess I can go through pretty much every character. Spider-Man, when he uses the power gem, he gets a doppelganger, so he literally gets another version of himself, kind of like Morgan's Dark Force from Darkstalkers. Yeah, so he literally gets a doppelganger on the other side, and it doubles his hits and makes it harder for the opponent to get out of the combo, because they're basically, as you move close to the opponent, you have a Spider-Man on both sides. I don't know if that makes any sense.
That sounds really broken, by the way.
Yeah, it's really ugly, but it's also hard to avoid. So you got the Spider-Man's power gem, that's his attribute, and then you got Wolverine's, I believe it's his power gem attribute is he gets the Berserker Rage buff that he gets in Chill the Atom and then in future games. So he gets the after image and does multiple hits.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
He still benefits a lot from the time gem, so the speed up, like I said, everyone gets a buff universally across the board from the gems. It's just certain gems do more for certain characters, right? You know, like power will give you a damage buff, but it also gives certain characters certain abilities. Like power for Captain America gives him basically his stars and stripes and his charging star. They turn into super like attributes. Like, they literally hit multiple times. It's like almost like a super from the future games.
Really?
Same with, yeah, it's like literally all of his moves are like they do multiple hits and they have super like attributes.
So every character has like this insane gem, ideal gem that they want.
Yeah, even gems that don't make any sense. Like Iron Man, you use Soul Gem and he gets like some vampire crap where he like electrocutes the opponent and gets health and meter back for no reason.
Okay, hold on. Isn't this really imbalanced? Because you see the order of the gems before the match, right?
Yeah.
So what if the first gem is the gem that happens to be the gem that your character amplifies from? Wouldn't that be like unfair? I guess you still have to get that gem.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, that's what kind of makes the game fun, because you pick your character and then you can see. It's like you guys could kind of attribute it to similar in poker. When you see the flop, you already know right off the bat, am I in a good position? Right? I'm like, I know it's funny, but it's the best way I can just like describe it, right? Like,
that's funny.
Literally.
Yeah. Like,
once you let's say you pick something like Magneto, right, and then you see that space gem flop down. Space gem gives Magneto complete invincibility, by the way. Like, there's only 2 things I think in the game that can hit him for like the entire duration of that meter. When I say so invincible, stupid. I mean he has no hitbox at all. You can't do anything. You can't throw him. You can't touch him. He's like invincible.
Oh my god, that sounds so dumb.
Yeah, he literally just like does force field, and then like he has like this stupid ball that flies around him, and you just can't touch him. It's retarded. Yeah, but let's say you're Magneto, right? And then you see the space gem is the second one to pop up. You're like, okay, well, I'm not gonna get it from the first attack, so that's not important. But maybe it'll benefit me from letting my health go down. That's like a tiny bit, right? So maybe you'll eat a little extra chip, so you make that criteria to get the super armor. So you're likely to get that gem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So add a little bit of strategy to the game. You collect the gem, and the other guy's literally got to run his ass off to avoid. the onslaught of like invincible Magneto for the next like 10 seconds.
So stupid. Well, I guess if your opponent gets the gem that you need, I guess they would activate it right away at all costs to make sure no matter what you don't get it.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like if you know the game and you know the attributes of the other characters, and you'll be like, okay, well this doesn't benefit me that much, but I know it's gonna really benefit that guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to get it, so I'm gonna use it right away, right? Or is like if it added strategy to the game, right? Like if you knew, like I said, if you knew that you were like just shy of hitting that 30%, you might intentionally eat chip damage, so you would be in the more likely position to grab that gem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it added a little bit of strategy. You know, I thought it was an interesting way of incorporating a overpowered mechanic and still balancing it. You know what I mean? I don't know if you want me to go over the rest of the gems, but I mean we covered most of the stuff as far as.
Can we go over the basic properties for every single gem?
Yeah, that's fine. So basically we'll go over in order that we've talked about before. So time basically gave you a speed up attribute for every character, and there was a lot of combos that were only possible in like with that power up. So something like Psylocke, she could do her that kick move that she does in Marvel 2 where she kind of goes through the opponent. You know what I'm talking about?
Kick move that
it's
goes
like,
through opponent.
Yeah, it's like I think it's forward hard kick or something like that. It's like it literally, she like hops forward, and then if you hold forward, she kind of like dashes through the opponent. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, I think it's back hard kick, and then you
maybe
press
in Marvel
forward
2,
right after.
but I think you can do that in Marvel versus superheroes. I think it's forward and back. I don't remember. But
okay, go ahead.
All I remember is that you could literally combo it and go through the opponent over and over and over again. It would combo, and if it didn't hit initially, it was almost impossible to block. So if you got clipped once, it combos, and it's like blocking the whole onslaught is like next to impossible. You're gonna eat like at least half damage if she gets that gem.
Okay.
And probably get dizzy and lose the round. So yeah, it's
and a lot of gems.
Yeah. So that's Psylocke example. But I mean across the board, everyone got a speed buff. Certain people got more buffs, as we already talked about. Power was like the damage boost across the board. A lot of characters, I can't speak for all of them, but I know a lot of characters, they actually got the chip attribute. So if they hit you with any kind of block stun, like if the character blocked, they would still eat chip damage for every normal that they blocked. So it was a pretty good gem.
Is it just damage, or is it like hit stun too?
I want to say it maybe gave him a little bit more reel back for certain moves, but like don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. You gotta remember this game is really old. I haven't played it in a long time, but
yeah,
from what I remember, yeah.
I'm just trying to compare with Infinite. I'm just trying to, because like we know power and time are in Infinite, so I'm just, because you're reading these gems first, so I'm just trying to see if there's any relation.
Right. You definitely hit harder. I can't speak to tell you if it did more reel back. I know there was definitely no wall bounce and ground bounce. That didn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
So nothing like we saw with the trailer with Ryu. But you definitely hit harder. Move on to what else? So we had the time, we had power, then we had reality. So reality basically, when you press, I think it was the mediums and the hards, you would get certain elemental projectiles that would come out of your character while you're doing certain combos. Like you can just do a raw if you wanted. So if you press like I think even jab, you would throw out like a fireball. So think of it like best way to kind of describe it is something like Ouroboros. You know, like Strider when you press a button, when he's got
like
the orbs around him.
Sword.
Yeah, something like that.
Your character still does like they still whiff the normal, but the projectile comes out.
Right. So it's just like a combo assistant. You know, like it kind of extends your combos where they normally couldn't be extended.
Wow.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, you got characters like Blackheart breaking the game, turning invisible, right? So that was always a fun time. Yeah. Then you got space. Now I don't know, I have no idea how they would balance that in new one. But in Marvel Superheroes, it was a defensive-based gem. So what it did for a lot of characters is it gave them super armor. In the case of Magneto, I mean, you made him invincible. Juggernaut is virtually invincible, but can still be thrown, and that actually was probably one of the only things that actually does damage to him.
Weird.
But yeah, certain characters just it gives them super armor, or they can't be launched. They might be able to be tripped, but they can't be launched. So it's just a defensive tool, right? No, I'm trying to think of what else. Okay, and then there's the other two. I think that I haven't covered. Soul and Mind. Now they're a little bit different as they're not offensive. They're recovery tools.
Okay.
So Soul, when you activate it, it gives you vitality back. Iron Man is the only weird one that does something for him, but for the rest of the cast, it just gives them vitality back. So your health is constantly recovering, pretty fast.
Pretty fast? Even if you're getting hit in a combo?
Yeah, it's slowly regenerating. I guess when you're getting hit in a combo, like you can slowly see it continuing to go up while you're losing. Like you're still losing health, but it's going up at the same time, so it kind of balancing out.
Like faster than like an assist recovering health?
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
You can visibly see it going up.
Okay.
And then the Mind Gem is the super immediate recovery, and like I said, you can only get that in versus mode. Now, one thing I will say is like most characters in that game, they only had one super. I think Wolverine was one of the only examples that had two. But most of the time, because characters only had one super, sometimes it was kind of unrealistic for them to land that super. Like it's pretty hard for Iron Man to land Proton Cannon, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So him using the Mind Gem, you might think it's useless, but that game had a really, I wouldn't say intuitive, but it had a pretty good counter system, Infinity counter. Cost 1 meter to do it, and a lot of characters benefited from that more than they did from just busting out their super randomly. So they would grab the Mind Gem, use it, and then use a counter, and then follow up with like an OTG or something to start a combo. So that was the more realistic use of that for a lot of characters. And again, like whether the thing benefited your character too much or not, you just really didn't really want your opponent to get it. Right? So like whether it made a difference for you didn't really matter. Just sometimes you just bust it out just because you don't want your opponent to, you know, to get that space gem and go in.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to cover this mechanic? Man, it sounds intense for such an old game. It's
I'll be honest, I mean like it was really ambitious, and it's almost like a party mechanic. It's wild, you know, like a lot of crazy stuff can go on.
It's crazy they just stopped the system altogether in the next titles. Like it just was gone.
Yeah, you know, it seems like they tried something different with that, and then it didn't really make any sense for them to continue it because it was kind of centric to the storyline. You know what I mean? Like the boss was literally Thanos, and it was literally tied into the storyline, like Thanos getting the gauntlet and controlling the gems, right? So it didn't really make sense for them to continue it. I know it's an awesome system, but it just kind of didn't work. You know what I mean? But one thing I will mention is they built off this even more. They released a Super Nintendo game called War of the Gems, I think a year later, and it reused a lot of the assets from this game. In fact, like the character select portraits in the game are actually borrowed from.
Was it a fighting game?
No, it's kind of a beat 'em up, similar to Mutant Apocalypse. It's like almost the same game. And even Wolverine's exactly the same character.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically they borrowed a lot of the assets. Like I said, they had the character sprites like from the actual fighting sprites. They actually used that as character portraits in the game.
Oh, interesting.
And then they had characters that were like in this like as playable characters, like Blackheart, Doctor Doom, Thanos. All those stuff were actual bosses in War of the Gems. So yeah, it's one of those things where it was something they obviously expanded on and turned into a whole version. It is not a port. I don't want to confuse you guys, but it's not a port. But it does borrow a lot of the same assets from the arcade game. So you guys might want to check that out. It's actually a pretty good game. But without getting too off topic, one thing I do want to talk about is, since we're talking about how hectic it can be with the gems going on all the time, the game did provide people an option of turning them off.
Oh, on the arcade version?
Yes. So, and it's kind of funny because if we don't actually physically have to talk about it. I can literally hold. What you do is you hold the start button, and then if the opponent holds the start button at the same time as you, when the match starts, it'll literally say no gems.
Wow.
If one person holds the start button, it'll say no gems ? And it literally gives your opponent an opportunity to turn it off or not. You're like, okay,
That's
fine. And if
cool.
you guys both agree, you can hold the start button, and then for the rest of the round, there's no gems involved. It's literally just like head-to-head combat.
Pure man mode, man. It's like initial D when you turn off the rubber banding. Your opponent agrees with you, so turn off the rubber banding.
Yeah, it's like
That's
you
cool.
know, like, yeah, it's cool. It just makes it like a little bit more streamlined combat, right?
Yeah. Wow.
So if people didn't like the craziness of the gem system, they could play the game without it.
Anything else you want to talk about the gem system?
Off the top of my head, I think that about covers it. If there's any questions that you want to run by me, go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking, like, is this going to give us any hints on what it's going to be like in Infinite? Because, like, right now we got the Power Stone, and we got the Time Stone. And,
You're right.
You know, in the Power one, we know in Infinite it looks like it causes a ton of knockback and hit stun. The wall bounces and the ground bounces, and even the OTG. And even Ryu's super, when he's landing the super, you can see sparks flying like crazy. Like, it's still active for a long amount of time, you know? But there's also, like, an initial activate, and it looks like there's, like, another ability that Ryu does with that splash attack, so it looks like they're adding more to it. But, like, do you think they'll add something maybe passive with the gems? Like, or the stones, sorry? Or, like, you'll get some attribute you don't before activating it? Like...
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like
Like a
maybe
groove
something
system? I don't know.
like an air dash or something like that.
Yeah,
you know, like
yeah.
you normally have. You know, that I think that would be cool, and then add a lot more to the game. You know, maybe they could kind of incorporate some kind of assist like mechanic that was passive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something you can just randomly use, or something that just makes your characters faster or a little bit different. That would be cool. But I think we can kind of speculate. Like, I'm not saying that the other gems are going to follow in the footsteps of the old games, because I can't say that, right?
Yeah.
But like so far, it looks to be that way. Like,
Yeah.
the power gem is like, it gives you like a heavy damage boost, and then the speed is going to give you a crazy custom combo like speed boost that they did in Marvel Superheroes as well.
Yeah, both games
So-
seem similar.
Yeah, so I mean, if we're going by the test of time, then you know we can kind of like, I wouldn't say pinpoint exactly what the other gems are going to do, but we can kind of give a rough definition. Okay, well maybe Space Gem is going to be a defensive tool, right? Maybe the Soul Gem is going to be like your health regenerates more when your character is like not in play or something like that. You know what I mean?
But, like, I don't know, let's think about this, like, competitively, though. Like, would you really even want that? Like, they're always going to pick the ones that give you combo extensions, you know? Like,
well, we were talking about it before, right? Like, it adds more versatility to the game. Like, I personally feel that this just add more to the game, but
Yeah.
I feel like this and then the tag out mechanic is going to give people a little bit more room to play with,
Yes.
and it's going to make the game feel a little less stale.
yes.
If you know, you want people to have a little bit of breathing room and a little bit of toys to play with, right? So
Yeah.
you know, if people, and like you said, you know, maybe the combo extensions are not going to be for newcomers, so maybe something like a defensive gem would be better for them.
Oh,
right?
that's actually a good point. Like, it's something that, no matter what your skill level, it's going to benefit you immediately.
Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't think
exactly.
about that.
Right. So
That's a good point.
you know, like if it's a combo mechanic for people who are veterans of the series who want to learn how to kill the opponent in one combo, like they have that, right? But then the people who don't really care and they just want to mash buttons with friends, you know, they have something that might give them a little bit more, you know, more fun.
Yeah.
Might give them a fighting chance against, you know, a veteran player. Like maybe one of the gems will give them like super armor. Who knows, right? That would be a big, you know, that would change the playing field a lot. You know, suddenly the guy can't do combos or launch them. Like that would be huge,
Gold
right?
War Machine, man. The return to Gold War Machine. Yeah.
Exactly, right? So, I mean, you know, you can practice until you're blue in the face against certain things, but then when you're faced with, like, something like Juggernaut, immovable object, it's like, you know, my combos don't work on him, I can't do anything. Gold War Machine is another good example.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, doesn't matter how good your Wolverine is, you can't do anything against the character. So, it's ambitious. There's a lot of balancing things that need to be
There's six stones.
I know, right? So
With
there's a lot of
multiple
things that they need to
uses.
consider, right? So
Yeah, like they're gonna have their hands tied with the assist mechanic itself, making sure it's not broken. You know, the Tegan system. But the gems alone, like you know, it's a comeback system. They said it's a comeback system, so
Right. So we can kind of maybe deduce from that maybe one character has to be gone before you can use it.
That's what I think
But-
right now.
Right. So that means you want to use two characters that benefit the most from that gem, right? Because I mean, you know, why would you use one? Like the thing is, the gem is going to be basically your assist, so to speak.
Yeah.
So you know, you want something that's going to capitalize on that gem,
Yeah.
or vice versa.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am kind of looking forward to how it turns out.
Mhm. Like more than
Still-
X Factor, right? Like you're happy it's not X Factor, right?
Yeah, no, I'm just happy that that mechanic is long gone because I mean, you could say that yeah, it kind of evened the playing field for anyone to get into the game, and you were never out. But it also kind of it dumbed down the game to a point where it just wasn't really fun to play. Phoenix was a good example of that. You know, when you're literally like your focus is literally killing off a character because you know that your whole game plan is shot, and there's a 99% chance you're gonna lose the match if you don't. That's a problem, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can't really say too much because I have used her in the past.
Of
but
course.
when you're literally forced to use a character because she's that overpowered,
You took on Combo Fiend and Evil, man. Did you use Phoenix against them?
I think I did, yeah. But you know what I mean, though, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're literally forced to fight fire with fire to that degree,
Yeah.
that's not okay. There's something wrong with that.
You were winning, but you were crying inside.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like I didn't feel good with every one I got. Like
That's
like,
so funny, man.
It was one of those things where it's like you won, but you got a bad taste in your mouth. You're like, at what cost? You know, my
Yeah.
soul.
What have I become?
It's not worth it. You know,
What have I become? That's so funny.
literally. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I guess we need more info, right? We need more info. We need to see more of the stones to have an idea of it. Right now, it looks like they're taking out pieces of the X Factor, but not the whole package. Like, you're getting either the sped up part, the regeneration part, the power part, you know?
Yeah.
We're getting pieces of it. So, but it definitely looks like they're looking back at, you know, Marvel superheroes and trying to figure out how they can apply the other stones to them. And it looks like it'll give us a hint, too, on what the story mode is like as well. Because, you know, the Marvel universe and Marvel's really deeply tied into this, so they're going to want to, you know, it's going to tie into the movies and stuff. So I'm pretty excited to see what they do with it. It's cool. From both a casual standpoint and a competitive standpoint, I'm curious on how they do this.
Yeah, man. I really hope they know what they're doing with this and it turns out. Like I said, it's a little bit too early to judge.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of, like we saw what happened with Street Fighter V, like the early footage and then the end game was
Night and day, man.
Yeah, it's a big difference, right? So
Yeah.
and it's always been that way with the other games in the Versus series too. I mean, you got like Children of Atom, far cry away from Marvel superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
Every release after that is completely different. So what we've seen so far might be completely different by the time we actually get our hands on the game. So
For sure, man.
who knows? Yeah, I'll keep my fingers crossed. I'm definitely on the wishful thinking side right now.
Of course.
As long as, like I said, as long as X Factor's out of the picture, I think the game has a chance
Yeah.
to be good, or at least somewhat fun to play.
That's
so
funny, man.
whether it's competitively viable, I'm not too sure because we saw what was it, the gem system in SFXT. I don't imagine that is. I know it's different. Like SFXT, that was an extra mode that wasn't part of the main game.
But it was ambitious.
It was ambitious, right? But
Yeah.
they have to be careful with this too, because if it's something that's a core mechanic of the game, and it alters the game way too much, to a point where like there's only one gem that's worth picking or something like that,
Yeah.
and you need to be kind of wary of that too, right?
Yeah. But we're in a world where you can update games. We don't have to, you know, have
Yeah,
a
but, like,
CVS2 machine that never updates or a Marvel 2 machine that never updates, you know? So.
The problem is that you don't want to drop the ball out the gate, and then you got to update it, and then people are already salty about the last release, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Hence cross-decking.
Right. So I really hope that they get it right and they fine tune it to a point where it's casually accessible and it's still fun for veterans and it's still somewhat balanced.
Absolutely.
But like I said, only time will tell, man.
Anything else you'd like to add before we close this up?
No, man, I think we covered most of it. Getting a little tired here, so.
Yeah, me too, man. Well, everyone who's watched this video, thanks for taking the time. And if you guys have any more questions, I'll be happy to try to answer you on the old Infinity Gem mechanic. And did you guys like this mechanic, or what kind of guesses do you guys have for the rest of the stones for Marvel's Capcom Infinite? David, thanks again for taking the time to help me with this video, and hopefully we can do some more in the future.
Yeah, anytime, man.
Alright guys, till next time, take care.
Later.